Voice is clear to you, screen is visible, everything is okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
now let's start. So first I will discuss about a circuit diagram, okay, made up of diode, which can amplify the voltage. Let us say Vi is the input voltage, and if you apply to a circuit diagram, okay, that circuit diagram is unknown. I already told you to do that. So circuit diagram, then output you will get 3 of Vi, okay, that is the output that you will get. Now what is the circuit diagram? Today I will discuss. So this circuit diagram we can do using a clamper circuit, okay, so using a clamper circuit. Now, of course, you can see that Vi is positive, 3 Vi is also positive. So the clamper circuit which is required, that is a positive clamper circuit. That is a second decision. So it has to be positive clamper. Okay. Now, how do I get 3 Vi? Okay. In the previous class, when I have discussed about the clamper circuit, there you can find that I did, and let us understand the philosophy. Okay. So design philosophy. Design technique. If you understand the technique properly, then you can apply to any level voltage multiplier. Okay. So if you can remember in the previous class, what I did, I charged the one capacitor, and I told you that whenever we have the clamper circuit, there is a need of capacitor. So that was the capacitor, and I charged in opposite direction. That is the when it will be plus and when it will be minus. So that polarity will be charged. The maximum voltage will be charged here. Okay, so that diode will be forward biased during this time if you take a D1, and this maximum voltage will be Vm. Okay, that charge voltage, that maximum voltage will be Vm. Now when again that the input voltage will undergo the positive sign, because it is sinusoidal voltage, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. So when it have the positive half, definitely the maximum voltage is Vm, and here also Vm. This Vm plus Vm, definitely if you add one diode here, this diode will now become forward bias. Okay, and that can charge a capacitor. If you place one capacitor here, that capacitor will be charged from this, and that charge will be simply 2 Vm. Okay, so Vm plus Vm will be 2 Vm. So output side you will get 2 Vm of the input voltage. So if you analyze it properly, so basically this circuit diagram, this part of the circuit diagram actually helps to, I mean, to provide 2 Vm. Okay, so why don't we use this circuit, and later to revise it? That means I want to incorporate the same circuit which helps to charge to 2 Vm, because I now want to design 3 Vm. Okay, so 3 Vm can be simply written as 2 Vm plus Vm. Okay, very interesting. Please try to understand. So that the dotted one, this circuit diagram, let us draw first, and I want to incorporate this circuit diagram in our current design. So that means I need to store this 2 Vm, but some means how, that is a different issue. Okay, that is a simply different issue. How I can charge it to 2 Vm, that is a different issue. So that means you can see here this Vm, the capacitor voltage, and this input voltage, that 2 voltage added together to supply it. So here I have to have I need to have 2 Vm. Okay, so let us say that I am having a capacitor and whose charge is basically 2 Vm. Okay, and then this capacitor can discharge through that, and it can charge 2 Vm. Okay, now definitely this the capacitor needs to charge from somewhere. This is plus and this is minus, so I need to charge it. So to charge it I need a different path, so I am giving a path so that it can charge. So 2 Vm, and I need a help of supply. So supply, let us say it is positive and negative, and if we have another capacitor voltage in this direction, okay, which can also store, this is plus and minus. Okay, so that you can see minus plus, okay, and this minus plus, this 2 Vm, here it is Vm, and this is Vm, 2 Vm, that will be charged to the capacitor. Okay, in this path. So let us just connect it. So this path is okay, but how about this? So the capacitor, let us say this is C1 and let us say this is C2 and this is C3. Okay, now how this capacitor C1 will be charging or will charge? So for that I need to give a path. So what I will do, I will charge this capacitor in forward direction. Okay, so when it is positive and negative, the capacitor will be charged in this path. Okay, and when it is just opposite, supply voltage, this is plus and this is minus, then capacitor will discharge through this path. Because it is plus, so that is diode will be on, so it will be discharged through this path. Okay, so therefore the modified circuit diagram will be now, okay, is be like this. So you have a sinusoidal source, and definitely you need a diode to charge a capacitor first. Let us just name it as a C1. This is Vm is the maximum voltage plus minus, right? The diode is, let us say, D1, and then what I will do, I will store the 2 Vm part in different path. So this is diode D2. Through this path, the capacitor C2 will be charged to 2 Vm, and then you have to put one diode here, and then let us say this is the capacitor C3, okay, and diode is, let us say, D3. And finally, you need to put a load, because without load, the load is here, RL, point A and point B. Okay, now you try to understand. So you understand so you can see the design philosophy of 3 VM circuit or voltage multiplier circuit, where output voltage is 3 times of the input voltage. So you see in this circuit diagram what I have drawn. First, when the supply is positive, means the forward from 0 to pi, then the diode D1 will be forward biased, so it will be charging the capacitor C1 to the maximum voltage, which is Vm. Okay, now when it undergoes the negative half, okay, that means supply undergoes the negative half, that means this is plus and this is minus. During this time, what happens? During this time, the capacitor C1 will discharge, but in which path? In that condition, diode D1 will be reverse biased, but diode D2 will be forward biased. So in that condition, the capacitor will discharge to the capacitor C2, okay, through this path. And you can see the capacitor now can store the charge, that is plus Vm here, and this is also Vm, the maximum voltage, so that we can charge 2 Vm. Okay, now when it will be another half, when it will be once again the positive half, so what will happen? Once again this capacitor will be charging through this part, but at the same time this capacitor C2 will be discharging through the diode D3, and it will be charging to the capacitor C3, okay, to the voltage of 2 Vm. Right, this is plus and this is minus. So now if you see across AB terminal, what is the voltage? This is 2 Vm and this capacitor is Vm. So I can write, so 2 Vm plus Vm equal to 3 Vm. So this is the output voltage of the circuit. Okay, so is that clear to you? So this is about the voltage multiplier, where input voltage is Vi and output voltage is 3 times of the Vi. Okay, this is voltage multiplier. Okay, 3 times of the input voltage. Is that clear? Am I clear? Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
So can you do the same thing for, let us say, if I ask you that you need to do, let us say, input voltage is Vi and you need to design 4 times of Vi. So how to do that? Any idea? How I can do that? So Vi,
We'll
4
get
times.
2 capacitors that can store a charge of 2 Vm and 2 Vm.
Yes, so 2 Vm and 2 Vm, that is required now. Okay, that means one capacitor, output capacitor, should store 2 Vm, another capacitor also should store 2 Vm. If you add them together, then finally you can achieve 4 Vm. Okay, but how the circuit we can do it? See, from this network itself I can do. Okay, so I am giving you help, so you see the procedure in which I am thinking. Okay, so you see there is a diode. Okay, so and this capacitor is charging. So why don't we charge in this way. So let us put one capacitor here, okay, and let us just give a diode and charge one capacitor here. I will complete the circuit diagram and try to understand the philosophy, okay, so how I am doing it. So when I am doing it, you can expect that this is plus minus, right? This is plus minus, that means it is Vm, and input voltage, if it is plus minus Vm, then this 2 voltage will be added, and that I can write here 2 Vm, okay. But the capacitor, this capacitor, if you name C1, so this capacitor should be charging from somewhere, okay. So which is the path? So path is this. If you put anti-parallel diode, so what will happen during the negative half, plus minus, so this capacitor will charge, okay, 2 Vm, and then this Vm plus Vm, 2 Vm will be added here. So this part is over. Now I have to generate another 2 Vm. So this 2 Vm I have done, another 2 Vm I have to prepare. How I can do it? Any idea how I can do that? So to do that, what I need to do, I need to once again discharge this 2 Vm with the help of the Vm, okay, and I'll have to do one, I have to make a diode, I mean one diode I have to make a forward bias, okay, and I need to put a capacitor once again, okay. Let us say this name is here C2 and this is C3. So if when I am doing it, so what is the meaning of that particular line? You see, when this is plus and this is minus, okay, so it not only charge the capacitor, this C1, or through this path, it also, you can see this is minus plus, it can, this capacitor can also discharge through this path, okay, through this path. So total KVL loop actually maintain the voltage balance. So see this 2 Vm plus Vm, 3 Vm. So here also capacitor Vm, so that charge must be here 2 Vm. Okay, so once again I am repeating, maybe I am fast here. So you see this Vm you understood, okay, this 2 Vm you understood. What I am doing now, I am putting one diode to charge the capacitor, okay. Now the question is that during the negative half, this diode also will be forward bias, okay, and this diode will be also forward bias. So how the voltage balance will be maintained? So you see this diode is forward bias, so that means the capacitor will charge to Vm, there is no doubt. Again, if you see this path, this loop, okay, you have 2 Vm and you have Vm here. So Vm plus 2 Vm, that's 3 Vm. 3 Vm should be equal to 3 Vm, and you already have Vm here. So rest of the voltage will be stored in the capacitor here. So this is plus minus, it is 2 Vm. Okay, now this 2 Vm need to discharge somewhere. So you need to put a diode and put one capacitor here, so that I can take that 2 Vm to this voltage. Because this in the negative half, when it is the positive half again, this diode will be then forward bias, and this is 2 Vm. So this 2 Vm and 2 Vm, now it is 4 Vm. That is RL. Okay. So finally, what is the circuit diagram? Circuit diagram you can see from this. The circuit diagram is like this. So you have a capacitor here. You have you just charge the capacitor in opposite direction, and then you discharge it to another capacitor. So simple. So you have put a diode to make it forward bias, and then you put one capacitor here to make it 2 Vm, and then 2 Vm you put through one diode, you put it into one capacitor here. Okay. Let us say this is C1, this is C2, this is C3, okay, C4. Let us say diode D1, D2, D3, D4, okay, and finally you have input voltage here, and you have the load resistance here, RL. So finally, what is the circuit diagram? If somebody asks you to what is the final circuit diagram is this. So you have to provide in a box of this network, okay. So this network will have to, you have to provide, and where input voltage is your Vi and output voltage you will get 4 times of the Vi, okay. So as simple as that. So you understand this philosophy of designing, how to achieve. So you can design for 5 Vi or 6 Vi, whatever. So it is possible. So using this diode capacitor network, so using this diode and capacitor, very fundamental network, diode capacitor network, you can actually increase the input voltage from Vi to NVI, okay, where N is the level of the how much amount of voltage level you want to lift, that you can use. Okay, is that clear to you? You understand? Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now next topic, I'll be discussing about the rectifier. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, rectifier circuit. Now, first of all, before I start rectifier circuit, I have already given some, maybe you have already submitted. What is the rectifier? What is the purpose of the use of rectifier? Anyone?
So
Interact
it can
with.
be used.
Tell me. Yes, yes.
So it can be used to convert the AC sources to a DC.
Very good. So it is only, it is not that it can, no, it is actually, okay. So when you have AC supply, maybe single phase, maybe three phase, whatever it may be. So if you want to convert it to a DC source, so you need a rectifier. Okay, so a circuit comprises of a diode. Okay, if power level is small, the signal diode. If power level is more, then power diode. But definitely diode you need to use to convert the single phase, three phase AC to a DC supply. Okay, so basically the rectifier purpose is to convert AC supply to a DC supply. Is that clear? Acha. Then where it is used? Application.
Electrical appliances.
All the electrical or all the electronic application appliances used in your household, maybe your TV, okay, fast, refrigerator, okay, AC, if you have inverter AC, okay, nowadays you have inverter AC. Now you are using charger, so laptop charger, mobile charger, then you have the, what else, in household application, all this. And if you go for industrial application, you have a three-phase induction motor drive, okay, and conveyor belt. Then you have the exciter system, exciter of alternator. Okay, so you see a lot of applications are there, particularly when you have to convert AC to DC. Not only that, you currently in renewable sources, there are a lot of applications are also there. Okay, so I mean, there are a lot of applications. So you will just, it is familiar to you. That's why I'm saying. So TV, okay, AC, refrigerator, charger, induction motor drive, in industry, conveyor belt, okay, exciter system of alternator, basically generator, everywhere it is used. Okay, now the thing is that okay, so you know this rectifier is very important. It converts AC to DC, and applications are these. Now what type of rectifier we need to concentrate? See, in your syllabus I will not concentrate three-phase rectifier. You will study three-phase rectifier in power electronics course next semester. Okay, so here I will be concentrating on the fundamental, which is single phase rectifier. Three-phase rectifier you will study in the next semester when you will go for power electronic course. Okay, so now next is single phase I mean converter. Okay, so there are rectification purpose, you already informed me. Okay, it is a rectifier means AC to DC. So there are two type of rectifier. One is half wave rectifier, and another is full wave rectifier. Okay, full wave rectifier has two types. One is midpoint type, another is you have bridge type. Midpoint type, 2 diodes are required, and for bridge type 4 diodes are required, and for half wave rectifier you only need one diode. Okay, so now we will be discussing about the circuit diagram and their operation. Before I start, let me explain, or let me ask you rather, that what do you understand by a DC and what do you understand by AC? I have in one class maybe I have discussed, maybe it's a repetition, but it is required. So let us say I have a symmetrical supply which is alternating in nature. Symmetrical means the maximum voltage is same as the minimum voltage minus Vm. So can you tell me what is the average voltage? Let us say this is Vi. What is the average Vi? Anyone can tell me? It is a continuous, okay?
Zero.
So it is 0, okay? So for that case, I mean for this is definitely there is a alternation is there. So in that case, we say the signal is alternating supply, and for the alternating supply you have Vi RMS, okay? And Vi RMS is nothing but 1 by T 0 to T function ft square dt and whole root, okay? So meaning is that basically you need to find out the average square root area, okay? So this is, if you square it, you will get like this, and taking the average of that is known as the RMS value, okay? Whereas the average value is 0. So this is about AC. So AC has a frequency and its average value is 0 if you have symmetrical supply. And third point is that the RMS voltage, it exists because the square of the supply is basically positive. So you have the average square voltage, so which is known as the RMS, okay? Now if you just contrary to this AC supply, if you consider a DC, okay, so DC, the ideal supply or ideal, there is no repetition in the signal, so it is a constant. So this is your ideal DC, so there is no repetition, okay? So you know T tends to infinity, you have repetition, so basically ideally constant. So if your function if Fi is basically a constant, and for all T greater than 0, then we can say it's a DC supply, okay? But sometimes we do have you know non-ideal kind of DC, and which is very much important to understand. So let us say that I am having this kind of supply, this kind of voltage. So signal is this Vi. Let us say the signal is this. So can you tell me whether it's AC supply or DC supply?
Pulsating.
So this type of supply is called pulsating DC, okay? It is DC but pulsating because it has some AC component present in that signal. It is a DC signal but some AC component is there. Now if you decompose, because it is very much important, but practically all the output voltage whatever you will get, it is generally like that. You never get this ideal one, okay? Now if you decompose it, decompose means if you investigate about this signal, so what output you will get. So you have you can decompose like this. Let us say I have if I is a function, okay, input function, and if I1, okay, so I can write if I is equals to if I1 plus if I2. That means addition of two signal is basically Fi. And now I am drawing for two individual signals. So two separate signal I am drawing, and adding these two signal will result or results in the resultant signal what I have already drawn. Now let us consider on the if I1, which is purely DC. So what I will do, I will draw a straight line which is purely DC, okay? And this is if I1, and this is time t is greater than 0. Now in the same supply, you can see, you can just relate. Initially you see that here you have just in minimum voltage is here, so V minimum, and this is the V maximum, okay? So, and what you are getting here, you are getting a constant line. So what you have to do, you have to subtract something, because whatever you have drawn, okay, so this is your some voltage you can expect. So minimum voltage, and this is your voltage. Let us say average voltage is this one. Let us say this is your Vx. So what I am doing here, so this line is Vx, Okay, and you can see the input signal is less than Vx here. So what I have to do, I have to subtract. So this is the subtraction, and then at that particular point, what is happening? They are similar. So what I will do, will make it 0. This is the point, and then after that it increases. So this is a positive half, increases. Similarly, if you just draw it, you will get like this. Okay, so this one is the ripple content which is present inside the DC. So this is the another function which is Fi2. If you add them together, you will get Fi. Okay, now what is the meaning? Meaning is that this signal or pulsating DC signal is having two components. One is pure DC, okay, which is known as average value, So when you study in the rectifier, you have to calculate the average value. Average value means what is the constant portion of the signal, okay, and then also you need to calculate the RMS value. That means AC component of the signal. So this is the, you see, it has frequency, it has a repetition, everything is there, okay. So this is called the RM or AC component of the signal, and which you can calculate using RMS value. Okay, am I clear to you? So can you tell me that whether the presence of this kind of alternating ripple, is it good or is it bad? The Fi2 which is there in pulsating DC, is it a good thing or bad thing?
Bad.
It is actually bad. You see, the purely what you want a pure constant DC, but unfortunately because of this ripple content you do not have this kind of constant, you are having some ripple. So what is the meaning? Meaning is that if you increase the ripple, let us say you increase the ripple, means you increase the magnitude. So what will happen? The resultant ripple also will increase. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Again, if you reduce it, let us say if you reduce the ripple to a very small value, then what will happen to the output voltage? It will be fairly constant, very small ripple, constant. So always you remember, in rectifier circuit we do not want much ripple, so ripple content should be less. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Ripple content should be less, and which is defined by ripple factor. I think you have studied. So generally, if your rectifier is good, what is the purpose of rectifier? It converts AC to DC. Okay, so at the DC, whatever DC you are getting, that DC should be ripple free. Okay, so ripple factor is a quantity, or it actually signifies how much amount of AC signal present inside DC. Once again I am repeating, when you are making a rectifier circuit, the basic purpose is to convert AC to DC, that is okay, but the DC whatever you are getting, that is a pulsating DC. Now the thing is that you know that if you have a pulsating DC, generally the AC component is present, and because of the AC component you have ripple content. Okay, now the idea is the ripple content should be less so that you can have a pure DC. Therefore ripple factor is a factor which signifies how much amount of AC component is present inside a DC signal. Okay, so in this waveform, if you have ripple factor high, okay, if you have ripple factor high, that means you have more AC component present inside DC. If your ripple factor is low, that means you do not have much AC component, so you can expect a better DC signal. So if your ripple factor is low, so your signal will be close to a pure DC. If your ripple factor is very high, that means it is not a DC, it is highly pulsating. okay, highly pulsating. Okay, so you want a pure DC. So always you remember that your ripple factor has to be low. So what circuit will provide a low ripple factor? Generally, we use that circuit for this kind of conversion application for AC to DC. This whatever line I just said during this 2-3 minutes is very much important. Okay, rectifier circuit converts AC to DC, that everybody knows. But whenever the conversion process took place, you have a pulsating DC at the output. Okay, so the pulsating DC that we generally do not want. We want a pure DC. So which parameter defines this how much amount of AC component present inside a DC signal? That is the ripple factor. Generally in a circuit, if your ripple factor is high, we do not prefer to use it. If your circuit and able to deliver low ripple factor, generally the circuit is very useful for conversion application for AC to DC. Okay, am I clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Now let us draw half wave and full wave, and then we will understand about this factor. Okay, and also we will write the efficiency. See, it is another important thing, how to find efficiency, because this is one factor, ripple factor is one factor. Another factor is efficiency, because you are using a rectifier. If your efficiency is very low, then it cannot be recommended. So you have let us say you are designing a rectifier circuit here. So this is a rectifier. You have input port and you have output port. So input port is AC, output port is DC. Okay, so DC, you can find out the DC power by voltage into current. Okay, so you have V average. So I will write like this. V average means what? The average output voltage. Once again, whenever I will say average voltage means, always you remember the average quantity or Vx quantity, which is steady part. Am I clear? So average voltage multiplied by average current I0. So I0 will be average current. Okay, V average is the average voltage. See, output side is DC. So DC side means average DC multiplied by average DC. So current, voltage into current equal to power. So that is equal to P0. What about PI? Input power. Anyone? Input power equal to Vrms into Irms into cos of theta, power factor. So if you put a resistive load for, let us say, simple analysis, every time if you use a resistive load, so this power factor cos theta will be unity. Okay, otherwise it will change, but let us consider for simplicity, for resistive load cos theta equal to 1. So I can simply write this is nothing but Vrms, because input side is AC. Okay, so Vrms into Irms equal to the AC input power. So what is the efficiency? Efficiency equal to P0 upon Pi. So which I can write like that, V average into I0 divided by Vrms into I of RMS into 100%. So see, we'll also check this parameter of efficiency, whether which circuit diagram will provide better efficiency and lower ripple factor. Generally that circuit will recommend. Okay, what is form factor? Because this is all are important. After that I will go for circuit. Form factor, is there anyone who can tell what is the form factor?
So RMS value by average value.
Yes, Vrms value by average value. What is the meaning of this line? Form factor, Vrms value by V average value. That means if Vrms is 0, the form factor will be 0. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If Vrms means what? The AC component along with the DC. Okay, if it is 0, then the form factor will be 0. If Vrms is close to, let us say, Vrms, just try to understand. Okay, very important. V average, let us say Vrms equal to V average. What is the meaning of that? Vrms equal to V average, that means signal is purely DC. V average is this, and what about Vrms? In this signal, what is VRMS? Same. If somebody asks you, let us find out, if this is a very important question, let us say T and this is VI. Okay, somebody asks you what is the RMS value of the signal, what will be your answer? The signal will repeat for T tends to infinity. Okay, so therefore I can directly say that VRMS equal to V average here, which is equal to VI. Okay, so during this case you have ideal supply, that means you do not have any AC component present, so form factor will be unity. Okay, so ideally you want a form factor which should be unity. And what is the ripple factor? It is related to the form factor. Okay, form factor square minus 1. So you put the value form factor equal to 1 square minus 1, that means what? 0. So ripple factor ideally you should have 0 value. I already told you. If ripple factor is very low, that means the AC component is not present, and you can see it is similar. There is no AC component present. Okay, so this ripple factor is related to the form factor. This is one important formula to calculate. This is also another formula, to important formula, form factor. Okay, ideal value should be unity or 1. So if somebody asks you what should be the ideal form factor for a rectifier, 1. What should be ideal value for a ripple factor? 0. Okay. Now let us just discuss about half wave rectifier. Half wave rectifier, and we will calculate all these parameters. Okay. Half wave rectifier is very simple, so I will use one simple this. Diode D1, that is, let us say this is Vm sine of omega t is the supply of Vi. Okay, so an output voltage is this V0, and you know why it is half wave rectifier, because the input supply, if you directly draw, this is the input supply, it is Vi, this is Vm, this is pi, this is 2 pi point, and this is time axis. And in the same graph, if you draw the output voltage, I think you already know this thing, it is just a repetition, and already you did analysis, everything you did. So you will have only positive half, because diode is forward bias in the positive half and reverse bias in the negative half. So you can say it's a negative clipper also. Okay, the rectifier is nothing but a negative clipper. Okay, so this is your V0. Now you have this output signal. Can you tell me that whether this signal is DC and AC? Definitely DC. Why DC? Because the average area is not 0 now. Here average area, if you calculate, it is 0. What is the average area for the signal? Is actually not equal to 0. Therefore you have a DC signal. So the question is, I need to find out the DC signal. Okay, so how to find out the DC signal? Any idea? How to find out the average value? V0 average. How to find out? 1 by t integration 0 to t ft dt. Okay, basically what is the average area you have to find out. When this is a time period, so what is the time period? Time period is 2 pi. So out of 2 pi, what is the average voltage you are getting throughout the time? It is nothing but V average voltage. Okay, so I have to do this integration. So it is basically 1 upon 2 pi 0 to 2 pi. Okay, ft means function, so which is Vm sine of, directly you can write theta. Okay, d theta for simplicity. Then 1 upon 2 pi and then Vm by 2 pi. So you can see your integration, you see 0 to 2 pi. So from that waveform 0 to pi your function exists, and phi to 2 pi it is 0. So directly you can write 0 to pi Vm already I have taken, so sine theta d theta. So what is the integration value of this? It is Vm by pi. Okay, so you will get Vm by pi. So what is the average value of this kind of output voltage or this kind of rectifier, half wave rectifier? The average value V0 average is equals to Vm upon pi. Am I clear to you? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so output side, this output side you are getting average voltage, or V0 you are getting is equals to Vm by pi. Okay, so what is the power, output power? P0. How to calculate P0?
V average into I0.
How to calculate P0? V0 average into I0 current. So how to calculate the current? What is flowing through this load resistance? How to calculate? See, it is a resistive load, so directly I can write I0 average equals to Vm by pi into RL. Okay, just voltage divided by resistance is the current. Yes or no? So therefore, the power what I am getting here, Vm upon pi multiplied by Vm upon pi RL. Okay, so basically I am getting a P0 equals to Vm square by pi square RL. Okay, so it will be helpful when I will find the efficiency. So this part is over. What about the input power? P input. How to calculate P input? Vrms, I already told you, into Irms. Okay, Vrms is what? This is the input voltage. What is the RMS value of the input voltage? Vm by
Vm by root 2.
very
Vm
good.
by root 2. Yes.
Very good. And what about IRMS?
I by 2, sir.
This is the mistake. See, what is the IRMS value? You see, when diode is working, then this current is same as the output current. Yes or no? If diode is not working, okay, then output, this current is 0. So you cannot say that your output current, this is your input voltage, there is no problem. What is the input current? If somebody asks you what is the input current, so input current is same as the output current. Okay, because you can see input current is same as output current when diode is forward bias. Okay, when it is 0, then this current is basically 0. Understood? So let me draw it again so that it will be clear to you that how to calculate the input RMS current. Okay, you know the output voltage, output current is nothing but Vm by, already we have calculated that. Okay, the maximum value I have calculated. So this is Vm by, the average value is this Vm by pi, okay, into RL. It is the average output current. But here you can see the current will be, the input current will be like this, because when the forward bias you will have current, when reverse bias it is 0, so you will have another this current. Now what is the maximum magnitude of this? The maximum magnitude is Vm by, what is that? RL. What is the current? Maximum voltage is Vm. Okay, if you neglect the diode resistance, okay, what will be the current? Vm by RL. That is the maximum value. Okay, that is the maximum value of the signal, and it is 0 to pi, and that is 2 pi. Now can anybody tell me that what is the RMS value of the signal? So therefore, so you have to calculate two things. Okay, so one thing is here I input RMS, that one you have to calculate, and also the output voltage V0 is not purely DC. You can see this is a pulsating DC. Sometimes it has, sometimes 0, sometimes it has, sometimes 0. So pulsating DC. Here also you need to calculate V0 RMS. How to calculate? 1 by T 0 to T ft square dt and whole under root, okay, square root. If you use this formula, you can find out the output RMS voltage, and similarly this also as well, okay. Similarly, that also you can calculate the RMS input current. So 0 to t IT square dt. Okay, if you solve these two integration, you can find out two values. Now you can write here, so 0 to 2 pi directly, it is very easy. Okay, so you can write Vm square, okay, and then sine square theta d theta integration 0 to pi, because pi to 2 pi the signal is 0, okay, and then whole root. If you solve this integration, you will get Vm by 2. Okay, so always you remember the RMS value, okay, for the output voltage V0 RMS, it will be Vm by 2. Okay, you can also find out the I in RMS, input current RMS. Now here try to calculate the form factor and ripple factor for half wave rectifier. Then we will calculate the efficiency. Okay, so can anybody tell me what will be the form factor? You have just said that Vrms by V average. Okay, so Vrms is what? Vm by 2. And what about V average? Vm by pi. So finally what you are getting? You are getting pi by 2. Okay.
1.57.
So what is the ripple factor? Equal to pi by 2 square minus 1. So can you tell me, can anyone tell me what is the value? Anyone? What is
1.21.
1.21? Very good. So ripple factor, always you remember, this is very much important. Okay, so half wave rectifier ripple factor you are getting 1.21, and form factor you are getting pi by 2. Okay, this 2 is important. And what about the efficiency? So IRMS, so input RMS current. Input RMS current directly I can write VRMS divided by RL for very simplicity. Okay, because they are same, so I can directly write this. So Vm by 2RL. Now we'll try to find out the efficiency. Okay, so efficiency is output power by input power. Output power we have already calculated. So P0 is equals to how much? Vm by pi into Vm divided by pi RL divided by P input. Okay, so P input equal to Vrms. So Vm by root 2 multiplied by Vm by 2 RL. So RL will cancel, Vm everything will cancel. Okay, so finally what we are getting? 2 root 2. Okay, this is in your bottom side, 2 root 2 divided by pi square into 100% efficiency. So can you calculate what is the value? So that is the efficiency of the half wave rectifier. Anyone, can you tell me what is the answer?
28.2%.
28.68%.
28 point?
I'm getting say 28.28%.
Okay, so 28.2%, let us say. This is the efficiency. So you see that if you use a half wave rectifier, now you understand, okay, what is the calculation meaning. If you use a simple half wave rectifier to convert AC to DC, your efficiency is 20% only, and your ripple factor is 1.21. Okay, 1.21 is very high. Ideally, I told you, ideally it should be 0, but practically what you are getting, 1.21 value, very high. Okay, so that means there is a need to modification. So there is a need of modification. We cannot simply use this circuit diagram for rectification purpose, simply because it has lesser efficiency, it has higher ripple factor. Okay, understand? And what about the peak inverse voltage, PIV, of the diode? This is also important. If somebody can ask you what is the PIV of the diode, peak inverse voltage, how much? Peak inverse voltage का मतलब है कि in the reverse bias condition, what is the maximum voltage? Okay, that diode actually experience. It is nothing but Vm. Okay, so peak inverse voltage is Vm. So all of you are not reading at all. Okay, you please read carefully. So for half wave rectifier PIV of diode, peak inverse voltage of diode is equal to Vm. It is also important, very high. Okay, so you need to use a higher rating diode to do that. Generally, peak inverse voltage as low as possible is required. That means if your voltage is very less of peak inverse voltage, then you can choose your lesser rating diode to apply it. That means your size of the converter will be low. Okay, so here your peak inverse voltage is Vm. That means your diode size will be larger. So if you use a half wave rectifier for rectification application, your ripple factor is high, negative point, efficiency is low, and you have to select a higher rating diode, okay, which is not necessary. So am I clear in this class? Is it clear? If you want to ask any doubt, you can ask me. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.